Right, thank you. Well, tomorrow, President Biden will travel to Buffalo to meet with families of the victims of Saturday's mass shooting at a grocery store. Investigators say that gunman was motivated by racial hatred and drove 200 miles to target black people while they shopped. Chris Pallone is following the latest developments tonight. Chris?
In Buffalo, a memorial to the 10 people killed in Saturday's massacre is growing outside the store where it happened. While just steps away, local and federal agents continue their search for evidence. Prosecutors are building a murder case against 18-year-old Peyton Gendron, the accused gunman who they say drove 200 miles to Buffalo specifically to kill black people.
From with all the evidence that we've gathered so far, the motivation at this stage appears to be pure hatred.
Now, a grieving community is pausing to remember 10 people whose lives were cut short.
It's an 86-year-old mother and grandmother, a man in the supermarket just buying cupcakes.
The distraught family of Ruth Whitfield, a beloved mother and grandmother, today called for people who radicalize white supremacists to be held accountable.
Took away my mother and my best friend. How dare you? How dare you? This needs to be fixed.
Investigators say the accused gunman specifically targeted this neighborhood because it's predominantly black and believe he planned to leave the market to find more victims before he was confronted and captured Saturday.
It's just absolutely chilling to know that that kind of hatred, that kind of racism is still prevalent in our country.
The White House says President Joe Biden and First Lady Jill Biden will be here in Buffalo to meet with the families of the 10 victims tomorrow. Chris Pallone, NBC News, Buffalo.
And 3 people survived Saturday's rampage. 2 have been released from the hospital. A third is still hospitalized but is stable. And as the accused shooter sits in jail, new clues reveal just how much racism played a role in this tragedy.
Hatred has been on the rise during what is a very divisive issue. The internet only helping that grow, of course. Let's get to Priya Mann, who's been talking with experts about this. Priya.
Devin, Kim, I spoke to Professor Mark Rigstad. He graduated from Johns Hopkins University, and he's been a professor of philosophy at Oakland University for more than 20 years. He's been taking a close look at how once fringe ideas are becoming more mainstream.
We have to hold people accountable for their beliefs. We have to challenge them when they subscribed to conspiracy theories like the QAnon theory and race replacement theory that are not rooted in fact.
The alleged gunman who killed 10 people and injured 3 believed in the once fringe idea called replacement theory, that white Americans and voters will be replaced with immigrants or people of color. The far-right conspiracy and the hate that goes along with it is edging into the mainstream.
How we get from those little corners of radicalization to it becoming mainstream is, I think, that people crawl out of those corners and into the public sphere and occupy positions in public media and in politics.
And both platforms help legitimize what was once only found in the dark corners of the web. The grocery store massacre was live streamed on social media, just like the mass shooting at a mosque in New Zealand. Both shooters were inspired by the same hate-fueled ideology.
There was the church shooting in Charleston, the Tree of Life Synagogue, the Christchurch, New Zealand shooting, and the El Paso shooting. All those are cases of, young white men killing people simply for being different from them. And they all come from a kind of hatred that's also generated by fear.
Social media and the misinformation shared online has also played a significant role in spreading hateful propaganda.
So the real problem is the problem of hate and the ways in which both the media and politicians can pander to those kinds of negative sentiments. And that's the pattern that has to be stopped, both on the level of conversation in polite society and also when it comes to the ballot box.
And he also says every individual has a role to play here. He says it's important to challenge those who spout these conspiracy theories, ask them what their sources are. He says it's also important to hold people accountable who use their platforms to spread hateful propaganda. Reporting live tonight, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
And Priya, the professor you talked to is trying to drive home the importance of finding some common ground.
Yeah, that's right. Devin, he actually gives his students extra credit if they go out on campus and actively seek out folks they think they don't have a lot in common with. He says more often than not, his students return to class and tell them that the differences were marginal. What they really realized was that there's a shared humanity. They had much more in common than they thought. you know, it's something we could all practice.
No doubt. All right, Priya. Lester Holt, by the way, is going to be live tonight in Buffalo. A look at the warning signs that were missed and how that tight-knit community has been turned upside down. That's at 6:30, right after Local 4 News at 6.